Welcome to the latest episode of Men of Indy. This is our second episode. We have an additional panel member from the last show. We have Steve Mohype Lester. We also have Mr. Dwight Cliff.
Here I am.
And Mr. Joe Moko. And lowly me, Wilson Murkison. Today, fellas, one of the subjects we wanted to discuss today was reasserting the male role in the household, or should we reassert the traditional male role in the household? We got a lot of new school people that, tend to not, especially ladies, they tend to don't want to go back to the way things were in the past, so to speak, in reference to, dad makes the money and mom, takes care of home. And then a lot of times there are no dads even present in the home. So that's another aspect of it. But as far as for the homes that the men are present in, and especially with children, we wanted to kind of cover, what do you think going forward, how that should be handled in the here and now? Or should we take a trip back to yesteryear? We're going to start off with our new panel member.
I think, take it back to yesteryear, man. I want to go back to straight clubbing them over the head. No.
You get charges for that.
No, but I think that things have changed a lot. And unfortunately, a lot of the changes that have taken place is because the men have sometimes taken a back seat, especially dealing with some of the younger men. And I like to refer to them
Are they
as,
taking the back seat or taking it in the back seat? I'm sorry.
That too.
I'm sorry.
They seem to be taking the back seat, and a lot of the younger guys just seem to be comfortable with, being at home. And I know there's a lot of circumstances that may bring that about, because they might have done some time and or different things like that. And it's unfortunate that so many of us are subject to, having that type of past. I see it all the time when I'm watching Maury. It's always like, the woman is always on there like, if he's doing something, he getting out. Why the guys don't never have houses? Why the women always putting the guys out of the house? Because he's at home and she's working. I like to refer to them as PlayStation N-words sometimes, because, 8 o'clock in the morning come, he's sitting up doing this and she on her way out the door. And, I think that's a sad situation. But how do we get back to where the men can, take on better roles?
I think a lot of it comes from, I'm not trying to degrade my women, but my women has taken care of men, some men, for so long that a lot of these young guys nowadays, not even young, some of them my age and older, a lot of them been taken care of by women so much that it's hard to break a cycle. So trying to break that cycle of a man's role, knowing a man's role and playing a man's role, it's been messed up for so long. And that's why we coming up with this topic. How do we change it? Like, for instance, so many men are taking that backseat because they look at it like this: why do I have to have a job? And my wife, she makes, $60,000, $70,000 a year, and I can sit at home and play video games, sell weed on the side, or a little crack on the side, as long as I'm doing something, you know what I'm saying?
Wow.
But me, the way I was brought up, shoot, I got hard ankles, hard knees, strong back, and strong shoulders. I better get out there and get my own. Don't ask no questions about it, and don't depend on nobody but me. But everybody didn't come up like me. They didn't come up in the hard knocks. They didn't sit there and when they was coming up. When you get out of school, you got chores to do. You don't get them chores done. You get a aluminum black skillet across the back of your head because you didn't do what you was told.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, I'm glad you laughed that last part out because we're a family show.
but I mean,
but I hear you.
A lot of the kids now has been pacified with video games and all this electronic stuff, and go back to when we used to get whoopings. I mean, ain't no kids getting no whoopings no more. And for an example, I took kids to the Pacer games last Monday, and after the game, it was, I mean, she was a strong sister. You could see the strongness in her. She had 3 teenagers with her, but her son, he was about 16, 17, and he was, while they was walking, he had done something or said something, and she was getting in his grip. Sheriff walking behind her like, man, I hope she don't, get on him. And she's like, I don't care about the police following me. I still get what you do. And I'm like, oh, man. And me being me, man, I wanted to snatch him up, and one of my guys was like, no, this ain't your fight. She can handle that.
Yeah.
But, and the first thing I said to myself, no father figure in the house. I said, his dad can't be in the house. Because if his dad knew what he was just saying to her like that, I'm like, man. And
let me add to that right there, because that's important right there.
Yeah.
When you say these 16, 17-year-olds are with the mama, and he walked behind trying to cuss at her, talk strong.
Oh, he in front of her.
In front of her. So a lot of times, here's what happens. A lot of times I've seen sometimes that the mama won't let the daddy sometimes get in there with it. Chastising. Say, no, I got it. You didn't pay no bills. You didn't do this. So don't try and tell him what to do. I'm gonna tell him what to do. You know what I'm saying? So then the boy saying, oh yeah, okay. So, and you try and in the past with my kids, I had a woman that we went together, but she wanted to run the show, and I said, well, hey, I got to be here for him because he gonna get to the point where he ain't listening to you.
Right.
And if I'm not here, you're gonna be in trouble.
He gonna run over you.
You know what I'm saying? You're gonna think he is your daddy at one point. So you have to be there as a man to get these young men in line, because the women love them. Not saying ain't nothing wrong with that, but they ain't your friend.
Right.
They're your kid.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you don't keep the separation between the two, you'll lose them. And that's why you say they at home with their girlfriends playing video games, because they still think they're at mama's house. Because mama say, well, if she make you mad, son, or things ain't right,
come home.
What can you know what you can do, right?
Yeah.
Come on back home.
Come on home.
Your room's waiting on you.
Yeah. So what does he have to lose if he know that he can go from one PlayStation situation back to another one and regroup and find him another one that to connect with? But you made another valid point in your comment when you said that the women sometimes will say things like, well, you didn't do this, you didn't pay no bills or nothing like that, so no, you can't do nothing. And that's one of the other reasons why the men's role has been diminished as well, because some women feel like money is the only thing that makes them more powerful. If you are a man in the house, you deserve a certain amount of respect as being a man in the house. And especially if you're not just a man in the house, just doing that. Now, if you have agreed that, if me and my woman have come together and agreed that, you got the higher paying job, I'm more of the entrepreneur type person. I'm still going out and doing my thing and making money. But you're the one that's got that stable thing. You're the one that's got the insurance. Even though you're making more than I make, my role as the man in the house, I'm still to be respected as the man of the house, because I'm still doing the respectable thing. The roles have just changed slightly because you just happen to make more money, but money does not make you the head of the household.
And I was going to say that too.
Yeah.
Which one? If the woman makes more than the man, or the man makes more than the woman. I mean, sometimes it be that dominant thing that it's a mentality thing.
But it shouldn't be.
I can be Oprah's man. It don't matter how much money she got. I can be her man. You know what I'm saying? We'll work it out. I'll slap the hell out of Stedman. But anyway, no, I'm just playing. But anyway, what about when you look at it as far as the Scripture says, when I was a child, I spake as a child, but when I became a man, I put away childish things. And so you got a lot of men that, you know, they don't have man-type behavior. They behave like they're children. You know what I mean? You know, they on the PlayStation and more than the kids. You know, they come home and they don't really help kids with homework or anything of that nature. You know what I mean? They kind of leave that up to mom. And so then that kind of puts a gulf between them and the kids. So really, what are you doing that would garner me respecting you? You know what I mean? And a lot of, you know what I mean? So
and
so
I believe that there's those situations where, yeah, maybe you shouldn't be respected as much. You're not doing a man thing.
Yeah.
If you're playing games as much as the kids, and you know, when mama's in the background saying something and you mumbling under your breath while the kids mumbling under their breath like you one of them, then you're not really taking on that role. If mama's in the background saying, hey kids, y'all need to get up and do this, you should be reaffirming her, right, and not trying to be friends with the kids. You need to take, that's your role.
They came together.
Yeah.
Right.
No.
But I mean, you really can't say it
the kid, you know.
because I know some guys.
Wait your turn.
Older than me.
tap in.
That's their hobby.
Yeah.
That's their hobby, video games. But it don't interfere with their discipline and,
Yeah.
you know,
It shouldn't.
the father figure type person.
It definitely should.
You know, guys, they play the video game 6-7 hours and don't think nothing of it. But in real aspect, kid, straight A student, you know, he got his stuff together, what I'm perceiving, but from looking on the outside in, he's doing his thing. That's just his hobby, you know.
I mean, and I didn't bring that up originally, you know, to diminish people who like
No,
playing
I'm
video
not
games
saying
and
that,
like
but I mean, but there's two different types.
Yeah.
There's two different types.
Right.
You know, you got some that.
And maybe I should have.
In the window throw out.
I should have prefaced that also because there's that one type of video game person that I'm talking about. That's also the same guy that gets up to take his woman to work in her car, keep the car all day, pick her up late with his boys in the car.
Yeah, and they ain't got a job.
Right. Those are the dudes I'm talking about. If I'm just playing video games,
That's what TLC is about.
if I'm just playing the games because this is how I unwind at the end of my day, that's something different. But you know, if I wake up playing the game and I'm taking her to work, dropping her off, and picking her up late, yeah, those are the guys that I'm talking about that probably don't deserve that kind of respect because they're not doing anything.
He might be drawing unemployment.
Well, let me ask this question because I watch a lot of. I've been watching lately. I've been watching some of the teachings of Farrakhan. Now I'm Christian, but a lot of these Christian television shows and evangelists and so forth, all they're in is, you're going to get your blessing. All you got to do is do this, send that, do whatever, and you're going to get your blessing. You know what I mean? God got a blessing waiting on you. Okay, I'm kind of sick of that crap because it really, it's like, you know, you send this in and basically we're going to get tenfold on your money, but we're not talking about how to carry yourself as a man. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. So the deviation from the message, the traditional Christian message as far as how to conduct yourself as a man, male role in the house. Because, you know, people going to church they're not doing it as much, especially in the younger people. And not only that, when they go to church, they're not really dealing with that subject. They kind of keep trying to keep people happy. You know what I mean? Trying to, you know, just pacify people with a positive message and not necessarily getting to the nuts and bolts of manhood.
Yeah, what it is to be a man, because that's something that is definitely.
So what role do y'all think that's playing in it?
Well, I'm gonna say this. I think the church brings people together, but is it for all the right reasons? For instance, so you're talking about young men, whether it be the father or the son or the nephew or the uncle that's at church. They there. I feel like they're bringing them to church just so they can understand a little bit more about the Bible, I guess, and be a part of the tithing and the messages and all the stuff that they got going on, but it's not really about what they may need personally. The father, the father figure that the church should be, from the men in the church, should be mentoring grown men, young men, and all of them.
Right.
Because it's kind of like generational, because when you don't have that father in your life, do you know how to teach your son how to be a father while you still learning? Okay, so that's what I see a lot of times, is that,
And it's perpetual, actually.
yeah. So like me,
'Cause you're always learning.
yeah, I had a father, but he was stepfather. So was he a great father? No. Was he okay father? It's up to your interpretation what an okay father is. But to me, for you get all the things you need from a man that's in the house raising you, you need some love, some understanding, some discipline, and some encouragement. And if you didn't get those things, how are you gonna? You see your son and the girlfriend, you had this baby with this woman. Y'all not married. Y'all just together. You have a son, and now he's growing up, and you still in your, let's say that this age bracket between 18 and 30 maybe. You don't have a clue. You still trying to hang with your boys, trying to hit the clubs. The women are still looking at you, hollering at you, and you still trying to date them and trying to raise this boy at the same time and be her man.
Right.
And still trying to play the video games. So it's hard for these young men to even try and figure it out what they should be doing.
Yeah.
If they didn't have that right role model. I know me, I looked at other men that were doing things for me to learn what a real man does or acts like. You know what I'm saying? I see when I come up, my neighbor taking his kids fishing. We didn't go fishing as a kid, but I said, Dad, that's cool. So as I got older, I said, I want to do something like that with my boys or just my kids, period. So I think it's just about what you grew up seeing. And now, where we're at today, it's going to take older men like ourselves reaching out to these young kids to get them back engaged and tell them, hey, that video game is nice, but you need to cut that time down. That girl on the street is cute, but you got a woman and a baby here already. You need to be trying to raise this here. You know, you want somebody else raising it, then you be mad, you want to fight him and beat him up and beat her up and all this kind of stuff. When you already made that decision to sleep with her, you liked her when you slept with her,
Right.
so stay with her. But then on the flip side, that woman was raised by a woman that was probably scorned or mad, and she sounded like,
Bitter.
yeah, forget a man. You don't need a man. He
Yeah.
ain't good for number one thing or two things. You know what I'm saying? Give you some money when you ask for it and get on about his business. You know, things that go into that has to be talked about and shared with these young guys out here.
Yeah.
Now, on the same topic of the church showing our young youth the proper roles of being a man, well, today was we do every second Sunday of the month. It's called Iron Man, that all the males in the church come together, and the young all the way down to the babies, and we come together and we sit and we propound on certain topics of how can we better ourselves as men and things like that. And Romans 12:1-2 shows you how to rebuild yourself, mentally, physically, and spiritually. So we was propounding on that today, and a lot of our foes that we don't really take grasp of, we was propounding on it. How can we change some of the foes that we have in life? And so once we got to propounding on it, and we was asking the kids, and a lot of them kids was telling us, it's a lot that we have to, that we are subjected to as young teenagers and and youngsters. And I'm like, what is that? We got a big demand on us to do better than y'all. So we gotta, I played it so full that we really don't know what's going on. We know what you done been through, Dad, but how do we be better than you? And I'm like, it's simple. Get your education. Do better than what we did. I tell my son all the time, I said, look, dude, I made my mistakes because that's what I chose to do in life. But you should learn from my mistake, not follow my path. Learn from my mistakes and make yourself better that way. I said, I've been to prison. I said, you want to go to prison? He's like, no. I said, okay then. I said, you already better than yourself. Because you don't want to go to prison. You're a straight A student. You go to Cecina, you go to a Catholic school. You're doing good. Continue to keep doing what you're doing and just strive off of, you see, my faults. I said, because my faults will only make you better. And so he was like, I never looked at it like that. I said, because you always got other people in your ear telling you this and that and this and that. Instead of everything that you need is right at home. All you got to do is open your eyes and your ears and quit being rebellious all the time. But there's so many kids out here now that don't have that father figure. And a lot of them got that she, him father figure. And now it's trying to balance. And then you got all these young men. You got all these young men out here that, I mean,
confused.
I'm way confused.
Yeah,
but
lots of confusion.
But so when you seen your father growing up, did they give you what you needed for the most part? Or do you feel like you was shortchanged yourself?
Well, speaking for my dad was, first of all, he passed away when I was 12. And I just met some siblings of mine a few weeks ago that I didn't even know I had up until, recently. So he let it. I'm not going to negatively speak about him though, because that's the vessel which God chose to get me here. And he did what he could, and he lived his life, and I'm not mad at him.
You say he died? He passed away?
Yeah, he passed away when I was 12 years old.
Oh, but what can you say bad about him? I mean, that's what happened.
He wasn't around long.
You know what I'm saying? You can't judge him for that.
No, I was.
But while he was there, did you know him?
Well, he was him and my wife, good grief, him and his wife, my mother. I'm stressing y'all. I'm getting emotional.
he was with your wife.
Hey, I was Rolling Stone. Actually, him and my mother divorced, but they used to fight, and but she wasn't no shrinking violet, so they would, go in, both of them. So they finally got divorced, and then that's how I ended up. I got raised by my grandmother actually, but my dad was still in my life. But I didn't grow up in the household with my father, but for 2 years, and I was a little bitty thing. By the time I was shipped off to my grandmother, so I really didn't have that fatherhood experience per se from a male in the house. Although there were male role models around, my uncles. We had a guy that ran the Hill Center named Mr. Hawkins. So we had male figures in my life, particularly black man, helped. But not in the house.
You had to figure it out. You were still looking at all different figures, and you trying to say, okay, who do I want to be like? Who's the man that I want to follow, and who I don't? And this looks good over here. This dude is cool. I may follow him, but he ain't doing nothing. So you got to figure out at an early age what male role are you trying to follow?
Well, I was trying to pick and choose good. Personally, pick and choose good qualities out of certain male role models, because you couldn't follow all of. I got an uncle. He was pretty good, but he liked to smoke that weed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he was a philanderer. So then you had another uncle who was a really good guy and solid earth type individual, but he would MF you at a drop of a hat. You know what I mean?
Okay.
That was every other word was that. But he said it out of affection. You know what I mean? So if he said that to you, it's actually oh, you ain't good. You know what I mean?
That's where he expressed himself. Yeah.
So I had a little bit different perspective coming up than the traditional male role model. So there have been mistakes I've made just by not knowing what to do and when to say stop and when to but the children today, I think they've gone too touchy-feely the other way. Because when we were kids, a lot of times, because we didn't come up with money, at least a lot of us didn't. So there were things we didn't get stuff handed to us all the time. So we kind of had to develop a hunger for things and to go get it ness, for lack of better terminology. You know what I mean?
And a lot of that was what? Taking things, stealing things,
No.
running the streets.
Well, no, I was too scared to go go to jail because my grandma always told me if you get locked up, you'll be down there because I don't got no budget for bailouts. You know what I mean? So
We all heard that. You know, I was a candy picker. I picked up some candy in hooks. when the hooks is open, because you know, like I say, my family wasn't rich, and we had money, but I didn't have it in my pocket.
right.
You know what I'm saying? And you wasn't going in the icebox just grabbing a sandwich out when you want to, because it probably wasn't nothing in there to go grab like that. So you
Sugar sandwiches.
huh?
Sugar
Yeah.
sandwiches.
And when
Mayonnaise sandwiches.
So I'm just saying, man, we've been kind of like had handcuffs on us for as trying to figure out what to do because of our fathers and their father, what they went through. So this is a generational thing that's been passed down, and every man has had to figure out. Some tried to figure out, and some didn't want to anymore because they were so frustrated with the system, not having a job, couldn't. And then I found out that when women got on welfare, the man couldn't be there in the house with her and the kids. He couldn't live in the house. So
That's true.
So they knocked the man out the house a long time ago, back when they started this welfare thing.
No, that's a whole nother topic.
What's I'm
That's
saying?
like the Willie Lynch letter.
But it all started. You know, it started right there to the day now. What we have now. You know?
That's first of the month pimping.
So
But with that was all part of the systematic breaking down of the black family as well.
Right.
And that was part of the reason why women began to come to this whole I don't need a man.
Yeah.
because you had a check.
Yeah, you got a check.
Because you had a food stamps and rent paid. What?
Right, yeah.
You ain't running up in here.
So yeah, I mean it was part of that systematic breaking down, you know, and whatever few casualties they had to take on their end, you know, they were willing to sacrifice that in order to cause us widespread destruction. So it was just that whole process that, you know, we kind of need to try to figure out how to reverse some of that, you know, in our men's mentalities, and the men need to start taking, you know, more of a manly role than they are now, you know, because like you said, especially now, it seems like I know so many women now, who they have a son, and they're raising their son, and their son becomes their man.
Yes.
And then the next thing you know,
exactly.
you're growing them up,
You know what I'm saying?
and then the ones that want to dress their kids like them, well, that doesn't help either. It's like a slow emasculation of a man, and you don't take the time to actually try to go out and find role models. Maybe sometimes the role models just aren't there, because that could be another part. That's another part of the breaking down of our community. Like, I had a similar thing as you. My father died when I was 9. I didn't know him. He was in the house, you know, for those first 9 years. For the most part, he's a Rolling Stone, because like you, I found out I got like tons of brothers and sisters everywhere. But at the same time, when he passed, you know, there are 3 main figures that I know in my life, and even though they're completely unrelated, it seemed like they were coordinated, because I had Brother Barry, who was at my church. He taught me spiritual stuff, as well as he was the first one to get in our grills. Like one time we was in the choir stand playing cards, but we had no business doing that anyway. But and then I had Mr. Johnson, who lived across the street from me. He taught me about, you know, he taught me how to drive. He taught me, you know, I went and asked him about sex and all that stuff. And then my next door neighbor, Mr. Robert Lee, he taught me about cars and work ethic and all that stuff. And these 3 men, which, you know, helped shape me, and even though they were completely unrelated in their, you know, they weren't like uncles and family and all that. It's like they were just coordinated, you know, for me, and I'm very thankful to have had those guys in my life, you know, for the time I did growing up. But a lot of people, I don't even know if my mother purposely went and talked to them or got them, or if it just happened. They just knew that when my father died, they need to step in, but that doesn't happen in the community anymore a lot. And is it because the women are so standoffish? For instance, if I'm in my neighborhood and I notice that there's a young lady who has a son or sons, you know, would me wanting to play a role in their life nowadays could be seen as he's a pedophile, or he trying to holler at the mom. He's trying to holler at the mom. You know, nobody just thinks that I just want to see these young black men grow up to be great black men.
Right.
And I don't want to let them go by the wayside. And I can see that you're not really, I don't see anybody coming to pick them up. I don't see them coming, jumping on the boys club bus or whatever. They're home, they're school. Most of the time they spend at home alone, probably because you got to work all the time. But then men can't feel comfortable going and stepping in because you don't know what the perception is going to be.
Well, you can't help the moms that just look like Nicki Minaj either,
I mean, I can step in and try to help your son, but I might want to help myself too. If I want to. But my main focus will be, look, I'm genuinely concerned. I'm genuinely concerned with your sons.
If that happens, okay.
Yeah, I'm genuinely concerned with your sons, but now after 11 p.m.,
I ain't agreeing to that.
they should be going to bed.
I ain't agreeing to that because I have a center, and I am one of the biggest mentors. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly right.
And
You legit, huh?
oh yeah, 501c3, yes sir. But what I'm saying is, I get that a lot. Because the mom might look good, nice body, and this and that, but at the same time, her kids, her young men that's in their household don't have the male figure. So, when I'm at the barbershop, I got tons of kids coming from Harshman, Tech, and they walk past every day. Stop in the shop. Hey, Mr. Cole, what you doing? I'm just cutting hair and working on the center for y'all. What you got going on? I got Pacer tickets, and I'm taking 25 to the game. Y'all want to go? Y'all need to go home, ask your moms, come back up here, get a remittance slip, permission slip, go home, have her sign it and everything, and bring it back to me. They like, all right, so they'll go talk to their moms, and then their moms will call me and say, Mr. Cole, my son said that you can take the kids. Yeah, I'm taking the kids to the Pacers game. I do this every, at least 2 to 3 times out of the month. And she's like, okay, well, I know that you do a lot around the community. I said, all I'm trying to do is give your son a better chance at life. Giving him that male guidance. Teaching him that just because he's a male, he don't have to still do a lot of things that women do, but do things that men do too. Go to games, teach them fishing, teach them, how to, if they was out in the woods or something, show them how to camp, show them how to, live off the land. And I said, I know you can't do it, and I know you probably have never, even if you have, you don't want to go out there and teach them that, or camping. And then, like when I started the Boy Scouts at the Legacy Center, these are just some of the things that we have to teach our young men now, because a lot of parents, all they know, females, I'm gonna go to work, keep this house clean, and make sure that I keep a roof over your head and clothes on your back and something in your mouth to eat. And that's a lot of the things that we doing. And oh man, I got so many guys that's ex-felons that all they talk about is, man, I want to give back. I want to, be a mentor to a lot of these kids.
Oh, these young teenagers you talking about?
Oh, yeah.
What's the age group you talking
10
about?
10 to 25.
10, okay.
And a lot of them look at me and be like, man, before I really knew what you was about and what you been through, all I ever thought you were was a brother that ain't never been nowhere or done nothing. You just got a, silver spoon in your mouth because you cut hair, you drive a nice car, and you dress nice. I said, yeah. I said, but the thing about it is, you judge my book without opening it up. And then once I tell them about what's inside my book, and they be like, oh man, you sold drugs for 15 years? You did 10 years in prison? You did this and that? And I'm like, yeah. I said, but that was the detour that I had to go through to get to where I'm at now, to help you get where you need to be. And then, like they was like, but you had a male figure in your life. I said, yeah, stepdad. I said, I didn't meet my dad until I was 13. When I met my dad was a multi-millionaire. He owned 2 Shell filling stations. One on 30th and Illinois, across the street from the Children's Museum, and on 21st and Capitol. Oh, yeah. I said, my dad had everything. But the only thing was, my stepdad, a young Thundercat, he was so wild and buck wild. my dad was almost 80-something years old. He ain't got time to be fighting no young Thundercat. So he's like, you know, I'm gonna take care of my child from afar. And you know, when I met him, I'm trying to get a job at his filling station. I go in his office, there's pictures all over every part of the wall. I can't see no white on the wall. All these pictures. I'm like, yeah, right. So I get to look and I'm like, man, I remember this picture. I remember it. He's like, I was always there. I was just there from afar. And I said, but man, that's crazy because me and my mama still was struggling. He's like, nah, you wasn't struggling. He said, the only reason why you feel that you was struggling because every time I went to give your mama something, your stepdad always tried to intervene and tell her don't take nothing from me and this and that and this and that. So now all the resentment that I had for him, I flipped it to my stepdad. I'm like, dude, you done messed up my life. You know what I'm saying?
That's kind of funny.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, dude, you done messed up my life. So the 3 years that I had with him was probably the best years that I had my whole life with the father. Because not only did he explain what went on, he also corrected a lot of things. And I mean, boy, potty mouth. And, you know, I just had so much resentment for my dad. I told my mom, I said, when I ever see him, I'm going to spit in his face. And the day I brought him home, like, Mama, I got a job. She's like, where? I said, the gas station, the man, give me a job. I'm 13, I'm going to have a job so I can help you. We can get off welfare. And he walked in. My mama dropped her cup. And I'm like, what's wrong with you? She's like, boy, that's your daddy. I'm like, grabbed me by my collar and threw me on the couch. Go to your room. I'm like, I'm going to kill him.
Oh, no.
You know,
no,
but,
right.
But a lot of the problems that we have now is, it's not just that these kids today don't have the father figure. A lot of them do have the father figure, but we need to recondition ourselves as men and start making the changes, not within ourselves, but our household as well, because a lot of these young men today is watching these videos, these rap videos, these movies, and TV today is nothing like when we was coming up. I was looking at a movie last night, and every 5 minutes it's gay on gay, love making. You very seldom see a man and a woman now.
Right. Yeah. Man,
Well, that
It's
ain't love
women on women, man on man, and
That's just nasty.
there's 4 or 5 of them. And I'm like, come on, man, this ain't TV.
Yeah.
I got a question though. I'm gonna throw it back at us because you know we talk about you know reasserting the male role in the household, but are we marrying the women?
But see,
Because if you don't marry them, then they don't feel no sense of commitment. So why should they listen to you? Why should they trust you if you're not willing to? You know what I'm saying?
Well,
As the song goes.
my issue with that, yeah, you should marry him. And I tell my sons that too. But let me tell you, when I was coming up, my stepdad and uncles, they told me don't marry none of them.
I have them uncles too, though.
Don't trust them.
That's why
You
you
know what I'm saying?
pick and choose.
Just do what you want to with them and let them be. It took some time for me in my mind to deflect all that stuff I heard about women.
Yeah.
yeah,
You know, coming up. So I tell my boys, any young man that I may run into that's just got a girlfriend or got a son, that you need to respect that girl and be with her because she's a good woman. You know what I'm saying? If you chose her and y'all get along, y'all ain't arguing all the time, then you should marry. Don't be afraid to be married. But they hearing stuff from their boys, and they trying to hang with their boys at times. So they don't want to get married. They want, oh man, I want to still get out and do my thing a little bit. I say, yeah, but you're gonna get out there and mess something up. She leave, get another man, you're gonna be mad.
yeah. But
Cause you can't raise your son or your daughter with her because she got somebody else she's in love with now. Now you on the outside wanting to fight.
Yeah, but
You know what I'm
they
saying?
marrying, a lot of them marrying for the wrong reasons too. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I know some people. I know some couples that have been together practically longer than me. I've been with my wife 20, going on 21 years, 13 years married.
Yeah.
But I know a woman and a man that's been together longer than me, and they still ain't married. But at the same time, I look at it, I said, y'all been together this long, y'all already married.
Well, I agree
I
with
said,
that.
but the only thing is, you just don't have the paperwork. I said, why won't y'all do that? Why won't y'all commit yourself to that? And the first thing he said and she said to me, if we go through the marriage procedure and get married, I feel that's when all our problems are going to start happening. Because of the simple fact that we still doing everything that we was doing to keep him and her. I still wake up in the middle of the night, go downstairs and cook something for my wife. I might, or get her a cup of coffee, or get her a cup of ice water and put it on her nightstand. So cause she gets up in the middle of the night, around 2 or 3 in the morning, and when she gets up, she sits on the side of the couch. On the bed, and the first thing she grabs for is a cup of water. So I get up at that time of night and go get her a glass of water and put it on her nightstand, make sure that she has that. Some men don't even do that.
Have you forgot one of time to do it and got an elbow or anything?
No, I'm not saying not me, but just certain things, because they say when you courting a lady, you're gonna do everything to make her feel happy, to feel love, and just to keep her, because you got so much love within yourself. But soon as you get that piece of paper saying I was married now, her name is now Cole, and you stop doing what you used to do to keep her.
The problem with that is, I'm gonna tell you what the problem with that is, though.
You get caught.
Well, no, I'm gonna tell you something else. If she just out there, cause y'all ain't married, she out there. You know what I mean? Technically, she out there, and whether a woman wants to admit it or not, she wants somebody who wants her and wants to claim her as their own. You know what I mean? She don't want a guy that just in there and just in pocket, but then he got a chance to boat anytime he feel like it. You know what I'm saying? So Mr. Good Job and good everything else, she might meet him one day. Then all of a sudden, you out there, and so you gotta tell these young men that, because these young men think, well, I can keep playing her, because it's all game. Believe me, I know. I ran it long enough. You know what I mean? I'm a coach now, but I used to be a player. You know what I'm saying? So I know. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I'm just telling you, it's all game.
Yeah.
But then she might run across a guy who ain't playing the games. You know what I mean? He's serious. You know what I mean? He's coaching big time.
Yeah,
you know
he's
what I mean?
serious, but you know what is why he's serious?
Well,
because he got a wife at home.
Yeah.
Well,
that's the whole thing. That's the whole thing now. If you go on Facebook, I'm telling you, man. A lot of people laugh at me because when I go on Facebook and I scroll through, and I seen one today. She said, "Well, I was single in 2017 and I'm single in 2018 now." She's like, "I don't know when I'm ever gonna find that right one." And then she said, "But you know what? I can find that right one. He's been with me all my life. He's loved me. He's never cheated on me, and he's always taken care of me." And I typed in there, I said, God is good. But at the same time, men of today, if you ain't already got a woman, I'm telling you, if I wasn't married right now, man, I'd be like, man, I'm never getting married again. Because, I ain't got time for the games. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got time for the games. Because there's so many women on Facebook talking about, oh, I wish I had a man that'd come and swoop me off my feet and woo-doo-woo-woo-woo. And then, the way society is now, man, I'm scared that I'm going to find something that, man, and now when I go to lay down with them, man, they going to pull out something as long as mine. Or, you know what I'm saying? Because there's so much going on, and our society is so messed up that I'm not knocking anybody's sex, gender, or whatever you want to be, but it's so messed up that it's gonna be hard to get the grits back on it because when they legalized gay marriage and all that, it just opened the door for Satan to just come in and just dictate everything. Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, it's so much out here nowadays that you gotta set I'll be looking at my son and I'll be seeing it and he'll do something and to me I'll be like, "Bow!" He like, "Man, what you hit me for it? Boy, quit biting on your nails like that." You know, I mean, he like, "I was just biting my nail." Boy, you doing it a certain kind of way. I ain't like that certain kind of way. You boy.
Yeah.
Or certain things and you be like, "Where did you get that from?" What are you talking about, man? You watching too much crazy stuff. But it's crazy.
To go off what you was talking about, when it comes back to the church and everything, how that all fits in here. When I was going to church, I went to church all my life pretty much, up until the last year or two, because I seen a lot of stuff I didn't like, I didn't agree with, but when I was there, I seen a lot of the pastors preaching, and it's all about this independence thing with the women being independent. You don't need a man. You make your own money. Okay, so then you get these guys over here that's doing good, got a good job, got a good car, and got their own place. But you try to get two people together, but he don't look like she want him to look. So therefore, he ain't the right one. But he got all the tools that can make her happy, but he just don't fit that picture that she wants him to fit.
Of course.
And that's you know what?
He don't look
that's
like
just
Washington.
That's just for black people though. You know what I'm saying? Because you see the other races,
Idris now.
they're not into all that though. They together because they want to be together. I see white people and this tall brother, little short white woman or whatever, or just tall, gorgeous woman with a little short white man, and just vice versa too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So there's nothing when it comes to churches that I see a lot of times is pushing to bring us together to marry. I didn't hear a lot about having singles meetings and stuff like that to get these people together if they're single or anything like that. You heard it a little bit, but then who's showing up?
Ours is called Sam. Ours is called Sam.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a single ministry.
Okay.
Where a lot of the single people in the church, they go bowling, they go to movies, they have like little parties and stuff, and I mean we do all that because my pastor, Kevin Brown at New Way Community Church, I love him because a lot of the things that he teach and propound on is everything that we talk about, being father figures, trying to teach our single ministry, there's somebody out there, that person might be sitting right next to you, and by you not really knowing that person or getting to know that person, you don't really know if they meet your criteria.
Is that the conversation in church or just in the singles meeting?
It's in the singles meeting, in the church. How
many times can you think that you might have heard that preached in the last year or two?
At my church?
Yeah.
We meet every month.
No. In the worship.
Oh, a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm surprised because even on the TV churches and churches I've been to, you just didn't hear it that much.
Yeah, but see that's the whole thing. I went from Mount Zion off of 38 to a smaller church. Now our congregation at New Way is probably 75, sometimes 55.
What, more women than men?
What
are you saying?
It's a smaller congregation.
Okay.
So I got a relationship with the pastor, the deacons, and plus it's somebody that I can relate to, somebody that I can come to and be like, hey man, I need to talk to you a little bit.
Working day.
saying? But you know, and they'd be like, all right, what's going on? Or I can get on the phone and call him, hey, Brother Buchanan, Deacon, man, I'm having some issues, man. You don't have that in big congregations because it's hard. You ain't, look, I can't call my pastor and be like, Pastor, man, the devil really been working on me. This and that. Call deacon or call evangelist, you know. You might get the answer machine. I'm not in right now. This is blah, blah, blah. And this, if you need any more assistance, call the deacon or the evangelist. So, man, I can get on the phone right now, call my pastor and be like, Pastor, I got a problem. Where you want to meet at? Let's meet at Denny's. You know that's my favorite spot. We go to Denny's. We sitting there, chop it up, 2 or 3 hours and went past. You don't get that in big congregations.
We're back, Men of Indy, talking about reasserting the male role in the household or in the family community, and we're gonna hear some droplets of wisdom from Mr. Mo Hype, Steve Lester. So, what do you think as far as going forward, the best methodology to get this accomplished?
I believe that, we're going to have to learn how to kind of fuse a little bit of the old school with a little bit of new school. Because there's no doubt things have changed. You know, we live in a world now, you know, of social media, you know, and a lot of things that we didn't have when we were growing up. But you cannot totally dismiss some of the things that worked. You know, I'm thankful for every whooping I got. You know, because those they help shape me. You know, I got a whooping one time because I didn't check in. I checked in from then on. I got a whooping one time because I got caught in the garage with a fast-tailed girl. I checked.
Whooping was worth it though. You know?
That was right.
I'm gonna take one for that.
I went to bed crying with a smile like, it was so much fun. So, you know, but I'm thankful for all those. You know, I remember when I got, because I was talking back to grown folks, and that's something that people don't, you know, they make people feel, they make kids feel like they're empowered somehow, and they've got. I don't feel like kids got rights. So there's a lot of people nowadays that say, "Oh, kids should have a right to do this and say that." No, they don't.
You got a right to sugar.
When you start paying bills, you start paying bills and putting food, and you know, the kids nowadays get this whole thing where, you know, if they don't want what's being cooked for dinner, then they get something different.
Nah.
I went to bed. That was it. And when I got out the bed, that plate was still on the table.
Yeah, my grandma used to tell us she didn't have us no menus. So.
Yeah. So you know, but at the same time, you know, I know that in this society, you know, a lot of things that you know that held true back then might not fly so well nowadays because there's so many people that's against the whole discipline thing.
So how we bring Big Mama back?
Oh man, I wish Big Mama could come back. Well, the only problem we got nowadays is Big Mama in the club with
the young mama. They young mama.
So you know that's part of the problem right there.
What's your name, baby?
Right, that's part of the problem right there is that Big Mama's in the club with grandbaby, and you know everybody's turning up. You know.
What kind of kush you got today, baby?
I remember I was somewhere out of town. I saw a flyer. They was having a contest at one club somewhere out of town for Mother's Day. It was the She Get It From Her Mama contest. Where mamas and daughters would come to win prizes for doing whatever they do, twerking, whatever.
The shake off.
Yeah.
Really?
So yeah, I can't remember where it was. Down south somewhere, of course. I don't even think it was Atlanta. I think it was somewhere in North Carolina or something. But yeah, I saw this flyer. She Get It From Her Mama contest for Mother's Day.
She get it from her mama.
And the mamas and daughters could come in, they could dress alike or whatever and twerk the thing, and that's part of the problem.
It is though.
Okay, well, what's the Mr. Cliff? What's the final word? What do you think would be the best way of indoctrinating a new philosophy going forward for the children of the day to become men?
Well, I would definitely say that the main part about this is just thinking. People got to think a little better than what they've been thinking.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? Because they just doing a little too much listening and not listening to their inner spirit when it's talking to you about what's right and wrong. when it comes to trying to go hang with your boys, you should be trying to be raising that boy, that daughter at the house, and understanding that this is the right thing to do. This might be seem fun over here, but you're trying to create something better than what you were. And if you put that kind of thinking first for a woman or a man, because she thinks that, well, I'm going with my girls, and I'll leave that little boy at home with grandmother. You know what I'm saying? And so he's there with her, and the daddy ain't got him, and so he's not getting that kind of attention he's needing from the father. So we gotta start getting these young men to think about their sons and daughters first, and not themselves first. And if we can do that, that will change the whole narrative about the daddy not being around. Even though he's not with the woman, and she may have somebody else. But you can't let that be your whole reason for not getting your daughter or your son. And if we get these guys to understand that, to just put themselves second and their kids first, I think you'll see some changes going on with these young men.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because through my center, I'm doing a mentor program through my center, and it's CircleCityGamingCenter.com is the website. And if anybody want to reach me, my number is 317-981-0050. Reach me, contact me, and if you want to volunteer or whatever. But that's our whole thing. We need to get grabs of these young men and teach them the philosophy of being a man. And not only just being a man, just teach them what we were taught when we was coming up. How to be respectful, how to use our hands, and not run around here thinking that that guns are okay, because when I was coming up, we used to box, and through the center, I got a professional boxer that's going to start his own boxing gym, and we doing a partnership up to where we're going to be, grabbing young men and bringing them in to show them, how to box and stuff, and teach them discipline, because that's what's wrong with our kids now. They don't have that discipline no more. They don't have that person saying, listen, dude, you can't do this. You can't do that. What you need to be doing is just calming down and get some coof about yourself and learning how to be that positive man. And everything is not about picking up guns. That's why we got so many deaths. But we just need to get a grips on our youth. And I'm not just saying the young men, the young women too.
Yeah.
Because we got too many young women out here that's gone astray too. And that's the whole thing with my center. Dismantling the chains that binds our youth to the street. Because the pipeline right now is straight to from school to incarceration. They already taking away all the schools, and they building more jails every day. So I mean, we got to get ever mindful and more wiser on taking our own initiative,
right,
and getting these kids back in line, because there's a lot of single parents out here. Man, the single parent rate right now is over 96%, and most of the male figures, if it is a male figure in the house, it's either an older brother, a stepfather, or a boyfriend, and there's very few husbands in the household. So we need to, I already took the initiative and I already started. But now I need more strong men to help push the issue, because there's so many young men out here that's looking for guidance and looking for that role model, looking for that strong shoulder to lean on, that we need to just get back into it. And I've learned to humble myself. And I'll tell a kid in a minute, I don't care what it is. If you need to come and stay at my house for a couple of days, that's what you're going to do. Mm-hmm. Because you need to come and see what a real marriage and a real family is. Mm-hmm. And I got so many kids that come into my house and they be like, man, your daddy hard. He's like, boy, you just don't know. But at the same time, you get that love. He'll snatch you up in a minute, but after he snatch you up, he's gonna sit you down and tell you why he snatched you up and what really made what you did wrong. And then after that, you're gonna make that choice. But if you ain't got that in your household, you're gonna keep doing what you do.
You can play your video games. You can go to the club. That's about balance. If you just want a club, you're not balancing yourself out. And it got something to do with the food as well. The food, the fast foods, and the things we drinking, man, that's messed with these kids' head. They don't even understand it.
The nutrition.
You know what I'm saying? So when you're not eating the right things, your mind's not right.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So between playing the video games, the fast food, getting your vegetables and fruits in you, and this is real. You have to understand that. And they think it's a joke, but for them kids to start eating better will make their mind function better. So as they understand that and start to balance their life on another level where they not always in the club, but think, okay, I gotta give 2 hours to my son at some point in time during the week, or twice a week, or 3 times a week, or that Saturday you give him 5 hours or whatever, or your daughter. Instead of not saying, well, she's with another guy, so I just ain't gonna do nothing. I'm gonna give her this money, I'm out of here. If they learn to balance themselves, it'll make a big difference in how they interact with the girlfriend or the wife and the kids. But all that needs to take some kind of position in balancing what they're trying to do.
Well, they say it takes a village to raise a child. You know what I mean? Or grandmama with a belt. You know what I'm saying? In my case.
Or a switch.
You know what I mean? But thank you, gentlemen, for chiming in on the subject. And we will be back next month for another episode of Men of Indy. Till then, for Dwight Cliff, Jomo Cole, and Mo Hype, Steve Lester, thank you very much for joining us for Men of Indy. And everybody have a nice evening.